Hello, friends, colleagues, students, and alumni. May I begin by extending a warm welcome to our guest of honor, Professor Mary Hafeli, to this event, Mary Extraordinary. We are all here to remember today Mary's terrific accomplishments during her time at Teachers College as a leader, as a scholar, as an artist, as a mentor, a colleague, and department chair. Mary, retirement is not the end of the road. It is the beginning of the open highway. So, Mary, we look forward to your journey as you hand off your TC car keys. I would now like to welcome Mary Hafeli on stage.
Hey, everybody.
So, welcome, Mary, and thank you for being here. We are now going to open the program with our first segment of Mary as a leader. Before I invite our guests, I would like to share an excerpt from Mary's article on servant leadership in the Creative Academy. This article examines servant leadership, an approach that focuses on service as an underlying principle of leadership. Mary characterizes leadership as serving, where she casts leadership as a service to colleagues and says it feels right, and that indeed who Mary is. And you may ask yourself, where does this highway go? And you may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done? Talking Heads, Once in a Lifetime, 1981. I would now like to extend a warm welcome to Tom Bailey and Donald Christian to the virtual stage. We have some speakers who are live with us today and some who were unable to join us but have sent us their pre-recorded remarks. So I would like to now invite our first guest, Tom Bailey, President of Teachers College. Please join me in welcoming President Bailey.
Thank you, Ami, for introducing me and for putting this wonderful program together. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here with all of you for this send-off of a standout scholar, educator, administrator, colleague, friend, and just an all-around terrific citizen of Teachers College. Since becoming president of TC, I've enjoyed getting to know my faculty colleagues outside of my former orbit of CCRC, and it has been a treat to learn about their work. That certainly has been the case for Mary Hafeli. I learned about her scholarly contributions to the field of art and art education. I know about the many awards and honors that she has received for those contributions, and we will hear more about Mary's legacy as a scholar and educator. I would just like to say a few words about Mary's leadership. Throughout my career in academia, I've closely observed leaders of all types and stripes in action. I've worked with many of them, and I've learned from all of them. In my experience, the leaders who have been most successful have several key attributes. They're conscientious and hardworking to a fault. They're nimble and creative, especially when it comes to solving problems. And they place a premium on collaboration and team development. Running a department as large and complex as arts and humanities well requires all of these attributes and many more. It requires focus, patience, diplomacy, tact, creativity, and vision. That, in a nutshell, describes Mary. I know how highly her faculty and staff colleagues have prized her calm and steady leadership of A&H, just as I have. They have valued her honesty, integrity, and transparency, as I have. They are especially grateful for her enormous effort to make sure no faculty member, student, or staff member grew isolated or disconnected from one another over the past 15 months. It feels a little strange to attend a retirement party for Mary. When I think of Mary Hafeli, the word retiring does not come to mind. The word leader does. In closing, I want to exercise my presidential prerogative to say something about Mary, the scholar. I cannot say that I've read all of her writings, but one of her articles did catch my attention. It was entitled, "Forget This Article on Scholarly Oblivion, Institutional Amnesia, and the Erasure of Research History." Naturally, I had to read on. I cannot do justice to the article's richness, originality, and wisdom, but Mary makes a convincing argument that long neglected or forgotten scholarship from distant past can yield knowledge and ideas of astonishing relevance to our contemporary research. So thank you, Mary, for all that you've done. I think what that says is that you'll never be forgotten. You're always going to be a part of Teachers College, and I wish you good luck in all that you're doing now. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Right. I would now like to extend my invitation to Stephanie Rowley, Provost and Dean of Teachers College. Please join me in welcoming Provost Rowley.
It's an honor to join you tonight to celebrate Professor Mary Hafeli. When I was asked to speak about Mary as a leader during her retirement celebration, I got really excited. It's such a great opportunity to think about Mary and the importance of her leadership to Teachers College. I've only had the pleasure of working with Mary over the past 2 years, but I've come to know her pretty well as department chair, and I so appreciate our partnership as we've worked through some challenging issues. First, it's important to point out that Mary's had quite an array of formal leadership positions, most notably Associate Dean and Dean of Fine and Performing Arts at SUNY New Paltz. Second, I believe that some of Mary's most important contributions as a leader have come in her informal leadership, in her careful mentoring of colleagues and students, and providing a steady hand in difficult times. To me, Mary as leader means calm, thoughtful, understanding, and always generous. She sees situations from multiple perspectives, truly empathizing with others and respecting those who have other points of view. She advocates for those she leads, providing vision and strength, compassion, and always putting people first. I admire her so much, and I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to work with her. We'll certainly miss you at Teachers College, Mary, and thank you for your many years of leadership. I really look forward to hearing about your adventures in the future in retirement, so keep in touch and best wishes.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Right. Thank you, Stephanie. Now I'd like to extend the invite to our next guest, Donald Christian, President of SUNY New Paltz. So Donald, please come live.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be part of this this event this evening. Hello, Mary. It's great to see you. Mary Hafeli returned to SUNY New Paltz as Dean of Fine and Performing Arts in 2009, the same year that I arrived here as Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. I was Mary's supervisor that year before I became interim president in 2010 and then president in 2011. Thank you, Mary, for serving on the Presidential Search Committee that recommended my appointment as president. Even when I was not Mary's supervisor, we continued to work together closely, and I watched her continuing achievements as dean, educator, and scholar. When she left in 2013, my quote in our news item stated that she had been an exceptional leader of the school's academic programs and community engagement and left a clear mark of progress on SUNY New Paltz. And we see her footprint on that progress long after she has left us. In partnership with our Dean of Science and Engineering, Mary was instrumental in establishing our 3D printing initiative that has blossomed into our Hudson Valley Additive Manufacturing Center and curricular offerings in digital design and fabrication. All of those carry an intentional focus that Mary helped establish on bridging the creativity of the arts with technology. Mary also established a Saturday Arts Lab that continues to thrive and is a key part of our engagement with the region. She served on our strategic planning committee that developed a strategic plan that with regular updates continues to serve our campus well. Mary, I appreciate all that you did for SUNY New Paltz, and I offer congratulations and best wishes for a long, happy, and healthy retirement.
Thank you, Don. So great to see you.
Likewise.
Our next guest is Professor Olga Hubbard, Director of the Art Education Program, and we look forward to hearing from you, Olga.
Mary, I had the privilege twice to have you as my leader, once as a program director and more recently as our department chair. And both times I was reassured to know that our department and our program was in your hands. The main way in which I can describe you as a leader is generous. You know how to step up when somebody needs you to step up, or when several people need you to step up, even if that's going to inconvenience your life. You always, always, always listen to any concern or issue that I brought to you, and you truly listened. You always took time to process what I had to say and to think through alternatives or paths to follow with me, or to make sure that I had the resources that I needed at hand. I'm so grateful that you always included me in your process of leadership, and that you were always mindful of respecting my position, my experience, my expertise in decisions that you took and actions that you took. I always felt I was part of a team with you. I never felt you were a boss handing stuff to me. I also always felt and still feel that you had my back. I know that you fought for me more than once, without me knowing sometimes, without me asking or bringing the issue to your attention. You were paying attention. I knew what I needed, and I know you've done the same for others. I am so grateful for that. So I would also describe you as a big-hearted leader and as a visionary leader. You envisioned our new studio hybrid program and planned it and developed it and worked so hard on it, and it's just off the ground with tremendous success. So not only do you have the visions, but you have the visions and know how to make them happen with your incredible clarity and generosity. Thank you, Mary, for leading us in such wonderful ways.
Thank you, Olga.
So thank you for those wonderful remarks. And we will now hear from Mary's colleagues and friends in art education about her exemplary research and scholarship that will forever shape what is yet to come in the field. Please welcome Professor of Music Education, Hal Abeles, and Mary's spouse.
Mary and I have co-authored several refereed journal articles and book chapters in 2 languages and made numerous presentations at professional meetings in the US, England, Spain, China, and Korea. In addition, we collaborated on many research and evaluation reports for arts organizations, from art-centered education in Detroit to the Baltimore Symphony to the Cleveland Orchestra. Mary is a great research partner. She's a critical thinker, a detailed data collector and analyzer. She has a precise command of the English language. It is exciting to know that one of the things that Mary is going to do in retirement is to write poetry and fiction. She has already begun to take classes and enthusiastic about these possibilities. Those of you who know her well know that she has not just strong, but informed perspectives on issues. I knew when we would discuss the findings from her project that if we differed in our interpretation, I would eventually see it Mary's way, as she would cite an abundance of sources that supported her position. It is clear that for Mary's education, from St. Hugo's of the Hills, Marian High School, the University of Michigan, and most importantly, Teachers College, prepared her to be the superb and perceptive scholar that she is. We should all look forward to Mary's next contributions, a book of poems or fiction or a collection of short stories. They'll be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Hal.
Thank you, Hal. And I'd like to now invite my colleague, Judy Burton, Professor of Art and Art Education and Mary's dissertation mentor, as well as co-author on several other projects. So please join me in welcoming Professor G. Burton.
Mary, at this moment, I'm reminded that we go back a long way with each other, for we arrived at Teachers College within a couple of years of each other. You were one of my very first students among a wonderful group of students, many of whom we are both in contact with down the years. You took your EDM and EDD and the program, and if you remember, you were also serving as my administrative assistant, lots of adventures there. We also were research collaborators and co-author of our book, Conversations in Art. I watched with great pride as you blossomed as a professional art educator at MICA and at New Pulse, and then welcomed you back to TC, where you followed me as program director and then as departmental chair. Mary, you have cause to be very, very proud of the many and now wonderful accomplishments. And with your retirement, you will now be able to gather up all those things you put on the back burner and delight in them without feeling guilty, without feeling that you've got to read yet another paper, another dissertation, meet another deadline. So this is not goodbye. Rather, it is au revoir, as our long and much appreciated collaboration will now kind of move to swerve in a new direction. And I look forward to, with anticipation, to see where that will go next. So Mary, go with much love and many, many hugs, and more to come.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. Our next guest is Juan Carlos Castro, Chair and Associate Professor of Art Education at Concordia University in Montreal. So over to you, Juan.
Happy retirement, Mary. I've been asked to just share a little bit about your contributions to the Research Commission. I think what you brought to the commission was a deep commitment to learning in the art classroom. It's a passion that I share, and I think it really helped to move the Research Commission in a direction that helped art teachers see research as an important part of their professional lives and help them to be able to see research's potential for transforming the lives of their students. You did this through leading initiatives such as the Interactive Cafe, which became NAEA Collaborate, the Research Pre-Conference. You definitely left your stamp on the Research Commission's work and all of the work that we're continuing to do. So thank you so much. I also have to thank you for my first research-related interaction with you was through our group called Theoria. Your wit, your charm, your comedic sense helped to instill a healthy humor towards what we do in the field and keep us grounded. So thank you, Mary. Happy retirement.
Thank you, Juan.
I would now like to invite Graham Sullivan, past director of the School of Visual Arts at Penn State and past professor of art and art education at Teachers College.
Hello, Mary. Graham here. Congratulations on your retirement. As I see it, retirement's the time to recenter things. Anyone who pursues a career in education shapes their identity by the success of others because we like to invest in the future. And anyone who has a life in the arts is committed to the creative possibilities of uncertain futures, because there's no boundaries to it all. But you know what the research says? Artists never retire. So enjoy your new time, because like art, the experience will expand to occupy your new space. All the best.
Thank you, Graham.
Thank you, Hal, Judy, Juan, and Graham for your wonderful tribute. Mary, what can I say? Our collaborative conversations often emerged during our walks to the train station on Tuesdays after we both finished teaching. This resulted in co-edited journal issues, workshops, writing conference proposals, and presenting at conferences, and more recently, organizing a conference. Your ability to collaborate with junior faculty warrants a mention. Somehow, not only you carved out the time, but you opened up possibilities for junior faculty to thrive and excel with your giving spirit and mentoring. I continue to be empowered by those conversations and collaborations that are now a memory, and I hope to pay it forward. My secret hope is that our collaborations will now take other forms on that open highway. You shall be missed, my dear friend. We will now move forward to our next section on Mary as an artist. No matter how challenging her schedule or leadership responsibility, Mary maintains a very active and inspiring studio art practice. It would be amiss to not give our audience and colleagues an opportunity to see some of her powerful works of art. I would now like to invite John Howell White and Stacy Salzar on the live chat. Mary's first.
Should we talk?
I have to introduce you, John, so give me a second. Mary's first piece is titled Flutter 2020. And I'd like to invite John Howell White, practicing artist for over 40 years and retired professor of art education at Kutztown University in Pennsylvania. So welcome, John, and thank you.
So Mary, one of the great unfinished projects we have is our Pizza Box project. Those of you that aren't aware of that, multiple years ago, we started an exchange in which I went to the local pizzeria and got I think a 12 by 12 inch canvas, and Mary would make marks on it, and then I would make marks on it. We'd send it back and forth to each other, and it's a project that has yet to be completely completed, but I'm always sort of in awe of the delicacy and shape of Mary's imagery, and I'm always a little bit humbled by it, and I'm also somewhat unsure of how my work is going to fit with hers, and that's what makes the whole project worthwhile. So I know that Hal said you're going to be doing writing, but I hope you're going to be working on imagery. I've found that in my retirement, it's been very productive in terms of my artwork, and I just wish you the best as you move forward in making your work and your contributions to the world of imagery.
Thank you, John.
Right. I would now like to introduce our next piece, Field Study, and would invite Olga Hubbard, Program Director and Associate Professor in Art and Art Education, to say a few words.
Mary, I was very excited when they asked me to comment on you as an artist. And I started bringing all your artwork, your paintings, your installations to mind. And I realized that I couldn't come up with words that felt right to describe you as an artist. And that is because your works are more like a poem to me. So I decided I should respond with a poem, but then I ran into the little issue that I'm really not a poet. I'm really bad at poetry. Just doesn't come naturally to me at all. So I decided to approach it through an activity that I do in museum teaching sometimes, a found poetry activity. So what I did was I typed a bunch of nouns, a bunch of verbs, a bunch of adjectives that came to my mind when I thought of your works. And I printed them and I cut them into little pieces. And I put them all upside down on my table. And I started flipping one after the next one. And the poems started appearing in that very order. So I glued the words on an index card. I did tweak at the end 2 or 3 things that didn't feel quite right, but pretty much my only decision after generating the words was deciding where I would go from one line to the next. And here is the poem. Rummaging. Floating Christmas tree. Everywhere garden scribbles. Deep white search. Arranges. Contemplates. Suspended, thoughtful, more magic. Lyrical glass string. Subtle things. Mary, thank you for being such a beautiful artist.
Thank you, Olga.
That was beautiful. Our final piece in this segment is Ghost in You. And I would like to invite Stacy Salzar, TC alum and Vice Provost of Graduate Studies at the Maryland Institute College of Art. Welcome, Stacy.
As the artworks displayed during this event suggest, Mary is a real artist. I first met Mary as a leader. She was the director of the MA in Teaching program at the Maryland Institute College of Art when I began as an art education professor. That is also where I encountered Mary as a scholar, teacher, and artist. The thing about Mary is all of these aspects of her life and work are so deeply integrated. For example, in 2015, Mary was teaching in New York, and I invited her to be a guest artist scholar back at MICA for the MA program that I was then directing. She facilitated an all-day workshop, which began with individual materials explorations and concluded with a student-led installation that filled an 8 by 15-foot wall, the product of hours of collaboration and conversation. Throughout the art making that day, Mary drew from the graduate students connections between making, teaching, leading, and research. The day was a masterclass in what integration looks like and feels like. As one student said about that collaboration, we were really living it. In a review I wrote a few years ago of Mary's book, Exploring Studio Materials, Teaching Creative Art Making to Children, I noted that as an author of that book, as the author of that book, Mary speaks to her audience of teachers as artists. Mary is able to do this because Mary is an artist. As 80-year-old singer Judy Collins said, if you're an artist, you never retire. Mary, welcome to being a full-time artist. And if you want to do some writing too, that's great. I wish you many joyful days ahead in the studio.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Stacy, Olga, and John. That was wonderful. We move on to our next segment now, where I begin by sharing an excerpt from our co-authored editorial, From Mentorship to Intellectual Partnership, Co-authoring and Dialogic Production Through Co-construction of Research. What is it like to be a mentor and be mentored as artists, teachers, and researchers? What happens to our individual contours as me becomes we through guided and mutual inquiry that fuels our scholarship? From examining performative co-teaching to collaborating in the studio, to mapping dissertation designs and embarking on shared research, I now present the segment on Mary as an educator and mentor. And this is a surprise video from your recent mentees.
Hi, Mary. This is Unji from Korea on Teacher's Day, which is May 15th, and we normally offer carnations to our beloved teachers. I can't believe you're retiring, but I feel immensely blessed to have you as my advisor and role model throughout my entire time at TC. Thank you for enduring with me from the beginning to the end of my dissertation. And I'm also extremely grateful for having been able to work with you as the studio fellow, TAing and also teaching the Process and Structures course. You are so professional in every aspect of your scholarly work, your artistic work, and of course your teaching, your leadership. Having you as a model, I've been able to enjoy my time being an assistant professor here, having 200 undergraduates under my wing.
Mary, it feels a bit surreal because it feels like the end of an era. Not in terms of true finality, but as it's an endpoint for both of us in some ways, as you retire and as I prepare to defend very soon with you at my side, where you've been since the very beginning of my doctoral journey. You've been a constant source of support and a truly wonderful and exemplary mentor, a model professor and a model scholar. And I, like all your students, am really grateful to you for caring about us and about our work and about our professional journeys. And you've done all of this and so much more, making what is not easy seem easy, maintaining a calm demeanor and maintaining your wisdom and your clarity through it all. So thank you for everything and congratulations. Well deserved. Much happiness to you.
Hi, Mary. It's Patty here. I wanted to wish you congratulations on your retirement. That is so exciting, and I hope it's filled with lots of fun. I also wanted to thank you for being such an incredible mentor to me over the years at TC. I have absolutely loved working together and have been thinking about all of the fun times that we've had over the years and your incredible inspiration and guidance as well. I'm so grateful for everything that you've taught me over the years and for being an amazing inspiration to me every day. I really miss seeing you on campus at TC, and I'm sending you a big hug and sending lots of love. Bye-bye.
Hi, Mary. Daniela Fifi here. Thank you so much for everything that you have done for me while I was at TC, and I'm wishing you joy, success, and happiness in your retirement.
Hi, Mary. This is Sohi. Congratulations on your retirement. I feel so blessed to have started my journey in art education with your teaching and guidance. You're such a huge inspiration and role model for me as an artist, educator, and a person. All you've taught me about transformative power of art, collaboration, studio pedagogies, and empathy is still influencing me to be a reflective educator. And I'm so happy to share that with the next generations of creatives and future art teachers. I often reflect on our collaborative studio time together. It was the most rewarding and happiest moments in my years at Teachers College. Wishing you all the best, and we'll miss your teaching and leadership, but I'm also really excited about a new chapter of your immersive studio time. I love you. Sohi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daniela, Sohi, Nicole, Yunji, and Patty for that moving tribute to your mentor. How lucky you all were to have Mary in your lives. As I think about Mary's role in the art and art education program, I share some questions Mary raised in her 2014 article on servant leadership. How do the characteristics and behaviors of creative people mesh with their roles as faculty members and colleagues? How do the opportunities and demands of today's college environments play into the work lives of arts faculty? And what are the implications of these questions for thinking about how best to lead artists and scholars in colleges and universities? In her role as faculty and program director, Mary has made a huge impact on shaping the art and art education program during her time at TC. And now I present some reflections from Mary's colleagues in the program.
Hi, Miss Mary. It's Miss Cyrus here, and I have the great pleasure of speaking about you as a colleague. So first of all, you're a wonderful colleague. You are a great listener. You take in what people have to say. You look at ways to meet them where they are, to inspire them, to partner with them. You are non-judgmental. You really give people chances. You are amazingly supportive. You are generous of your time, of your energy, of your spirit. You want to see everyone succeed and everyone meet their goals. And you want to see us always come together and succeed in our mutual goal, in our program, and for the benefit of our students. You are the epitome of a wonderful model of teaching. Your students are inquisitive and curious and excited and always look forward to working with you and learning from you. And in being that way, you inspire us to be better teachers. It has been nothing short of a pleasure all these years to work with you, to collaborate with you, to call you my friend. You will be missed beyond words. Your sunshine, your fun, your love that you brought to the program is beyond compare. I wish you all the best moving forward. Be well.
Dear Mary, your retirement is a reminder for me of how precious the time is we have with each other. I wished I had gotten to know you a lot more than I have, because I enjoyed every single time we sat down to brainstorm on projects or upcoming symposia together. Your ideas were always blessed with clarity, insightfulness, and with a broad perspective. Thank you for all that, and thank you for the role you took this past year as a department chair, which was a great service to us, but also to the college. I also want to thank you for the leadership you took and played at the NAEA for the past several years. Your commitment to national art education has been a great thing for all of us. It really put us out there on the map. I still cannot believe you're really retiring. It's been too short. And yet, I wish you so much happiness in this next chapter. And you deserve it.
Thank you.
I think there's one. Soleil, is Judy joining for this segment? Okay. All right. So we'll move on to the next segment. As Mary as department chair. As Mary has articulated in some of her writing, that leading a large department of arts and humanities during a global crisis requires moral purpose, understanding change, relationship building, knowledge creation, and sharing, and coherence making. The latter three requirements in particular, relationship building, knowledge creation, and sharing, and coherence making, can be fostered through ongoing communication with colleagues, highlighting the importance of multi-directional voices. So now I'd like to invite Professor of English Education, Bob Facho, to share his reflections on Mary as department chair.
Hi, Mary. In baseball terms, Mary, you took one for the team, and the department emerged all the better for it. Rather than being able to indulge in things artistic and scholarly in this last year, you found yourself instead dealing with administrative minutiae and reorganization writ large. Through my encounters with you as chair, I was pleased to see that you understood well that institutions often create systems not to protect individuals, but to protect the institution. Knowing this, you did all you could to protect us from the worst and to prepare us to deal with the rest. When we as a department needed pushback, you pushed back. If we needed information, you informed. If funding needed to be found, you found it. When pessimism arose, you smiled and remained relentlessly optimistic. Mary, we wish we could give you back this year, but the large plus for all of ANH is that we all got to know what Ardette already knew. What a great academic, excellent administrator, and magnificently fun person. Congratulations and enjoy Act 3.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. I'd like to now invite Yolanda Seeley Ruiz, Professor of English Education, to offer her remarks.
Hi, this is Yolanda sending warm greetings to Mary, sending so much love to you, Mary, on your retirement, wishes of fun and peace. I remember meeting you and thinking, this is when you first came to TC, just thinking how beautiful you are. And then as I got to know you even more, your beauty just really came through your spirit, through your kindness. Thank you for being a chair of the Arts and Humanities Department, and also thank you for being my friend. I've always felt that I could go to you and speak to you about things. Even if I didn't fully take you up on it, I always knew you were there. Happy retirement and lots of love.
Thank you, Yolanda.
Thank you, Yolanda. And as we get closer to ending our festivities today, I'd like to invite all our friends and colleagues who are on backstage on the presentation screen. And now, finally, the moment that we've all been waiting for, to welcome our guest of honor, Mary Hafeli, to take the floor. So Mary, take it away.
Well, I just am so moved. So much of this is a huge surprise. And thank you, everybody, for being here and sharing this moment with me and this beginning of a transition with me. I could just not be more moved by your presence and, of course, by your words. And by seeing, everybody who I've been working with for the past several years, but haven't seen in physical presence for over 2 years because I had a sabbatical for a year. And then, of course, the last year with COVID. It's been a long time. And to see people who are from years ago, Don Christian, I can't thank you enough for being here tonight. So thanks to everybody who had a hand in planning this amazingly produced event. I feel like I'm George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life, looking at the various components of, I'm not going to jump off a bridge because retirement is not that, but thank you for your words and for your stories. They mean so much in more ways than you can ever imagine. So I've been teaching in and leading art and art education programs for 40 years. And I think to myself, how is that even possible? I don't feel like I'm that age. I've been so fortunate to work at several institutions, as you've already heard tonight. One, a couple of times, SUNY New Paltz. I've worked at Maryland Institute College of Art. And of course, I've done a lot of work, both as a faculty member and a leader, and also as a student at Teachers College.
every place I've been, I've worked with people who quickly became colleagues, coaches, mentors, mentees, students, of course, and students, I am so proud of you, and friends, and yes, family. My sisters and brothers in this pursuit of ours, teaching and creating, research and writing, you have no idea how you have inspired and challenged my thinking, my teaching, my scholarship, my creative practice. A special shout out to my art ed colleagues from all times and places, and from now, Olga, Judy, Iris, Richard, Ami, Sam, and all of our colleagues. To the stellar faculty and staff in arts and humanities, and to the senior leadership at Teachers College. What a wild ride it's been being chair over the past year, one I will not soon forget. But back to creative practice. I cannot wait to wake up Saturday morning and ring in my retirement by making progress on works in various states in my tiny makeshift studio in our tiny apartment here in New York without checking email. At 6 o'clock on Saturday, I have a poem due for my writing class at the Writer's Studio. I've been taking writing classes at the Writer's Studio, which I highly recommend, all of them. I think I'm on my 5th class right now. So you've heard Hal talk about my plans to do some other kind of writing, and that's entirely right. A combination of studio work and a different kind of writing. When I was in my late 20s and teaching art and exhibiting my artwork as an artist, I couldn't decide which direction to go in for my master's degree. I thought I wanted an MFA, but there were these questions I had about teaching. I was teaching every day. And these questions had to do with how to teach young people, kids, how to be artists in terms of their thinking. They kept coming to me and saying, "Is this right, Miss H? Is this how you wanted us to do it?" And I kept thinking that was so wrong. Why am I getting these questions? So these questions turned into research questions that trumped the idea that I would, at that time, go devote myself to studio practice. I had a burning desire to figure out these teaching questions. And that brought me to Teachers College as a student. I guess this was a critical incident. It led me to researching art teaching and working with and preparing future art teachers. And I've done that now for almost 30 years. Again, it's hard to believe for me. So now's my chance to revisit that idea of the MFA. I'm not going for a degree during retirement, just the uninterrupted flow of time to swim fully within all of these studio and creative writing ideas I've been rolling for years, in a community that will continue to challenge and inspire. And to not have a to-do list or any agenda for a while, or have one, because anybody who knows me has seen my lists. But watch the items and the tasks on those lists change. I'm so excited to do all of this with the love of my life, Hal Abelus. So thank you all again. I will miss our daily and regular collaborations, our happy hours and dinners and lunches, even meetings, our walks and gallery visits and past adventures together. But I'll be around for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. As we wrap up, I'd like to extend my heartfelt thank you to all the guests who are watching the event live stream and all the speakers who gave their time and energy for preparing their remarks for this event. My thank you to Marie Maville, Vice Dean for Faculty, Trish McNicholas, Samantha Clay-Regan, Soleil, and everyone else who made the behind-the-scenes event work for this event possible. And finally, to Hal for being my intelligence service to get all the images and information while Mary went shopping. So thank you, Hal. This could not have been possible without that detective work. And thank you all so much for joining us. Please, before leaving today, share well wishes and memories of Mary in live chat so we can all see it.
Give them